Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. This is me, your host in Education Wali from Mumbai, India, and today I'm back with my another Elevate Talks with Zena podcast, and I am hosting our precious guest Bill Graham. So let's ask some questions, and first of all, thank you so much for her precious time for us.
My pleasure.
Okay. Okay, so let's start our interview with a short introduction of yours. Please have a short introduction.
Okay. You are you going to do that? You going to introduce me, or do you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, so he is US military and European theater and international management concession, and he also advises the top executive level of major corporations, and he has a great show every week Saturday, and it is due to be great. Is hosting with a special guest on it. So let's begin. So hello Bill, how are you?
Very good. Glad to be with you today.
That's great. So let's start with questions about career journey and leadership. So what first inspired you to begin your career as military officer?
It was not intentional. I was drafted during the Vietnam War.
Oh,
I was just of that age, and so I was drafted involuntarily into the army. And somehow, when they bring you into the army, they give you a lot of tests, and they decided that they wanted to make me an officer. And so I went through officers training in the military. I had not completed college at that point. I did not have university. So I took that up. Normally, you're drafted for 2 years, but at the end of my officer's training, I agreed to a status called voluntary indefinite, which meant that I did not have a time to get out of the army. It was up to the government to decide they didn't need me anymore, and they would let me go. In the end, it took almost 8 years before I was out of the service. However, you asked here what influenced my career development the most. And I have to say that military experience, because as an officer, I was an officer at the age of 21. And I was, during my career, I was responsible for tens of millions of dollars of budget. You will not get that kind of experience at that age in any kind of normal professional life. So I also had at one point more than 400 people working for me. Again, you don't get that experience at the age of 24, 25. So that influenced my life. I'm by nature, maybe you might call me a troublemaker. I look in if there are problems and I detect problems, I want to know why. And I stick my nose into a lot of places that normally people don't. And I found some flaws. I was stationed in Europe, and I found some flaws in the NATO logistics system for the U.S. Army. And I researched those flaws. And in the end, I was assigned to a project across the entire European theater to redesign some of the logistics to overcome those kinds of problems. That got me used to dealing with very, very large problems because we were looking at the situation from the United Kingdom to Turkey and from Norway down to Spain. And so it taught me to think big. That also got me assigned to the general staff of an Army Corps, which there were only 2 of in Europe. And I then learned that even the highest ranking people, they're no different from the rest of us. So it's good to be respectful, but that respect means you don't necessarily agree. It is a sign of disloyalty if you allow your superior to make a serious mistake. That is disloyalty. So
Exactly.
I learned here to speak up. So as a result, the general often called for my advice because he knew I would tell him what I felt rather than what I thought he wanted to hear. And that became a very important lesson for the rest of my life. And as I got out of the Army, I went into management consulting in one of the largest European consulting companies. And I was dealing with the very top echelons of corporate leadership, the kinds of corporate executives that bring their private chefs with them when they go to meetings, or that fly certain nuts or fruits in from South America daily because they like them. And that is, again, because they knew I would tell them straight up what was going on. And I was not afraid to look into new things, changes. Whereas most people would build on whatever was being done today, I looked at the problem and said, okay, what do we need as a solution? Today, that's called thinking outside the box. But that's what I learned in the Army, and that's what I continue to do in management consulting. And that really served me well through my entire career. You can see I'm not a young person. That's why my experience is long. But they really all build on that basic idea is what's next to my name. Dare to be great. Dare to do what needs doing. And so we, for example, in our Rotary Club have a motto, set your goals based on what's needed and not what you think you can do. So much advice out there says, make sure that you can do the goal successfully before you take on the goal. We say, no, you take the goal that's needed and then you find a way, because it's only when you stretch to find new ways, to find out how to do what you don't know how to do, that you grow. That's the way you grow the most. You grow by making mistakes, but not letting mistakes traumatize you. I'd say it's sort of the basic start.
Okay, I really appreciate your this work and your passion about it. So, my another question is that how did your military logistics experience shape your later leadership style?
Well, again, in the military, as an officer, you're put into leadership positions right away. And it's the experience that you gain. And the one thing here that you have to learn is leadership is not about just you being the boss, you being command. There are 2 real kinds of leadership. One is leading people. And that could be you have a little team, you're a bank branch manager, whatever, and you've got a little team, or you're a platoon leader of maybe 40 to 50 people, and you are leading them. And that could be a sergeant, it could be an officer. But there's another kind of leadership, and that's called strategic leadership. Strategic leadership is what generals do. Excuse me. Well, excuse me, somebody was trying to call there. Hopefully they'll give up. But strategic leadership is where you have to accomplish a mission, and you've got to figure out how to accomplish the mission. So when we think here of an army, and you are trying to fight battles, You think strategically. You're not leading directly the troops. You have to lead indirectly. And you've got to figure out, how do you enable your troops to accomplish the mission? Your job is to make it possible for the others to succeed. And we see this. This is in business practice today. This really feeds into a thing called economies of scale. With economies of scale, again, it's not like we had 50, 100 years ago where everybody was a little small business and you only had a dozen people working for you. And a lot of it was about being that leadership inspiration for direct leadership. Today, you've got people in headquarters of major corporations, and it's their job to figure out how to make all the branches of that corporation maximize their success. So it's your job is to figure out how to help your subordinates be successful. That's more important than you figuring out what you're going to do on your own.
Okay, it's really having appreciating time for you, right? And I really appreciate your work. And at the moment in this series, everyone will be like to interact with a pupil like who is committing a come and guide us in every moment. So that would be honored and great to assist someone and like this. We don't really have a thing in our mind. We will never should call this a podcast. We will call it me and about her journey. You explored many times and many things at your life. And you are retired now, I can believe it. And you are doing good to be great.
Yes, I'm
Good to be
also
great.
yeah, I'm also the past vice chair of the NGO Committee for Education, Learning, and Literacy
Yeah.
at the United Nations, and I'm a founding board member of the Rotary uh, Artificial Intelligence Fellowship. I mentioned here the importance that you have to always be open to new things and understanding where things are going and why. And artificial intelligence right now is something that is going to change the world. I just was yesterday. I had hosted a Zoom session, and we were discussing some quotes of some of the leaders that are pushing artificial intelligence forward. And there is an estimate that this could be have an impact on the world that is 100 times more great than the Industrial Revolution. That will affect every part of the world. Even those people who say, well, we don't have, I'm in a developing country, we don't have artificial intelligence here. They're going to be impacted because the rest of the world will be impacted, and all international trade, all production will be impacted. We did some research on countries in sub-Saharan Africa, and we saw that literally within a very short time of a year or two, they could see up to a 35 to 40% reduction in their GDP, which will bring education and medical services almost to a halt in a lot of those countries. So those are some of the things that are very important is the education, and education is going to change so drastically. I doubt that universities, as we know them today, that they will survive the next 5 years. I do not think they will. Which means a student who is in high school today, who is planning to go to college, and they're thinking a lot about where do they go to college, what do they want to study, they have to keep in mind, what are they going to do if universities no longer exist in 5 years? They have to think about what are they going to do when the jobs that they see today don't exist in 10 years. So this is a big thing about that Dare to Be Great, because young people like yourself have opportunities today to really impact where's the world going to go. I encourage children as young as 10 years old to write a book. Write a book. Go and become a world expert in something. Write a book about it. Maybe a master's degree textbook on quantum physics. A 10-year-old can learn and become a world expert in that in 6 months and write a fantastic quality textbook for a master's degree program. So this is the biggest advice that I can give to young people like yourself is go do the unexpected. Do whatever people think you can't do and go out and do it and take advantage of the tools. It's not about cheating by saying, oh, I'm going to use AI to tell AI, write a book for me. No, become that expert. Leverage AI for you to grow your expertise in anything and then guide the process of writing that quality book. I did that when I was a professor at a major university. I had all my undergraduate students, bachelor's degree students, I had them all write books. Bachelor degree students don't normally write books. But when those students went out and had to do interviews to get jobs, and the person interviewing them said, what do you know about this subject or this business? They were able to say, oh, not much, but here's the book I wrote about it. And they don't normally interview people that wrote books on their subject. So this is an opportunity for young people like yourself to go out there and just go and put your mark in the world, build your brand, if you would, by going and taking anything you're interested in and becoming a top world expert in it.
I'm really appreciating your this hard work, your work, and honestly, I can tell this in words because it's a thing that we'll never forget that you were doing for us, and I mean, you are the person that who is giving everyone, and you are making from where that works, and listen. Okay, let's motivate and let's be motivated from you. So, which one are kind word do you say for me and other people? You're advising and please motivate and give some special advice to me and the point that can touch a heart of anyone.
Your name that you're using is Education Wally. I take it that means that you are studying education. Is that correct?
What? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is your field of study education?
Your voice is not coming.
I'm sorry. I'm not
Your voice
understanding you
is
fully.
really.
Yes?
Yeah. Now your voice is coming. Please stay. Please motivate us and give a few words and life. What is the biggest thing that you know about me now, right away? What do you
Okay.
think? How is
Here's we started a competition in our club. It's intended to become a global competition, and it's called the Dare to Be Great.
well, your voice not coming in. You have to tell about me, about myself. Your voice is not coming. First, unmute yourself and then ask. So please, guys, do
Okay.
not.
Okay. It's the system must have muted me. So can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. So I don't know how much when that mute thing went on. So I don't know how much you heard before. But the point I was making for young people like yourself. You have to start to change the way you think about how you age, how you grow and become and settle on a career and so forth. Most of the careers that people have been chasing for the last decades are not going to apply to you. Everybody today has to be a lifelong learner, and your goals, you're going to have to
I'm
be
a
setting
lifelong
goals.
learner and
So
I love to learn life full time.
yes. So the advantage today for you is
When
go.
I was younger, of 9, I want to become a teacher. But unfortunately, I did not do that. But that something motivates me to become a school student, and my I will really give this. You know, I will really appreciate my father to give me that. So yeah. And my next question is that from you, what trends did you face when consulting Swiss banks on digital payment systems?
Yes. One thing here that's important to understand about teaching, I do not believe teaching is going to continue to exist in a very few years. It's going to change. Right now, we expect teachers to deliver instructions, to tell students what they need to know. That is going away. And we teachers are not going to be responsible for instruction or for testing and assessment. Teachers are going to become mentor coaches. So just like an athletic team, you will be, if you want to be a teacher, you will be watching the learners learn, because the learners will learn on their own, perhaps with support of artificial intelligence. And the teacher will observe from the sidelines. And the teachers will help the students learn how to learn, but they will not tell them how to do mathematics or how to do science.
I'm not a student anymore. No, let me clear you. When I was in my physical school, I was just a student. In this Rehan school, I become a leader. I'm not just a student anymore. I'm a leader. Because Rehan school making a leader, and leader is make us perfect. And I wanted to change 100 million people's life that can impact on others and that can impact on myself also. So that that's
Okay.
why I'm doing good.
Yes. I'd like to suggest to you, because you're very difficult to understand, there are these little wired microphones, lapel, they call them lapel microphones. I greatly encourage, for future interviews you want to do, get a lapel microphone, and people will be able to understand you're speaking better. And the videos that you are making will be clearer for anybody wanting to watch them later on. So I make that suggestion. Uh, the I was starting to mention here, we have a program we're starting to roll out around the world. It's called the Dare to Be Great Challenge. And the idea here is to challenge young people in secondary school to build teams and to go and enter in a competition to see what teams from schools, secondary schools, can come up with the most audacious, outrageously audacious solution ideas to major world problems. Things like the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, to end hunger, to end inequality, to provide gender equality, to improve education outcomes, to come up. How do we do that? How do we protect the environment of the world? That young people like yourself, you have to say, right now, maybe you say, oh, that's too big a problem. I can't do anything about that. No, you can. You can. You can figure out how are you going to influence the influencers of the world to go and bring about the change? How are you going to motivate young people to become engaged? How are you going to give them the confidence that they can do great things? You know, we have a 10-year-old girl in the United States that when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans around 2007, she saw all the suffering and it really bothered her. So she got some friends, 10-year-old friends together, and they decided they wanted to do something to help the victims of Katrina. And those 10-year-old girls decided they were going to raise $1 million. And all the adults laughed at them. 10-year-olds, you're 10-year-olds, you can't raise $1 million. And they said, yes, we will. And we will do it by this date. Well, that date came and went, and they didn't raise $1 million. They raised $10 million. And so she's on the television shows, all the talk shows, and she's saying, what's all this fuss about? Any random kid could have done it. You just have to try. And to prove her point, she went home and she raised $10 million again for another cause. I go and ask business leaders, how many of you have raised $1 million? None. Nobody raises their hands. And why I say, have you tried? No. Have you ever given serious thought as to how you might raise $1 million? No. But if you've never tried and you've never even thought of how you might, how do you know you can't? Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple Computer, he said, those who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. We asked a bunch of young people as young as 14, why do you think he thought that? What was he thinking? And the answer they came up with in the end was that it's only the people who think they can who try. And it's only the people who try who can succeed. But you have to pay attention to something that Google X did. Google X, if you might recall, is the moonshot group at Google that sets crazy, crazy goals. And they're part of that. X, is the Roman numeral for 10. Part of their strategy is pick goals that are 10 times higher than the biggest goal you can think of. Because what that does is it automatically disqualifies every single known solution. All the solutions that we know about are disqualified because they didn't work. It forces you to think outside the box because you're looking for a solution that's 10 times higher than anything we've known so far. Or think of the former president of Liberia in Africa, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, who said, if your dreams don't scare you, you're not thinking big enough. So try it. Try that. We've brought young people together, large numbers of young people, and we've challenged them with some of the world's biggest problems. And it's amazing. You can watch them the first 15 minutes. They don't know what to do. And they just look at each other. And then somebody throws out an idea. And then somebody else adds to that idea. And then somebody else adds some more. Somebody else brings up a problem. And others come up and say, oh, here's how we can get around that problem. But it all starts with trying. And that means believing you can. So the biggest goal that you should have with education is confidence. Get confidence. Do things. And make mistakes. Mistakes are the fastest way to learn. Just make sure your mistakes are not fatal. But go ahead and make the mistakes. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, he was a joke. People laughed at him. They said almost all his experiments failed. And he said, no, they're not failures. I'm just eliminating all the solution options that don't work. And that gets me closer and closer to the one that is going to work. So those are maybe some things here for you and your fellow students there is, like I say, pick something that people don't think you can do. Go out there, pick, if education's your field, Go out there and study. We have to stop teaching. Teaching is the worst thing that's ever happened to education. Education should be about learning, not about just listening and absorbing. And you learn by doing, by the learner doing, not by the teacher teaching. So the thing is, you can pick a subject and learn. Do master's degree work at age 10. Why not? Get a PhD. Do you know today a PhD normally takes 5.5 to 7 years in the United States or Europe? But if you use tools like Notebook LM and Gemini and some of the other tools, we've shown a path that you can complete all the PhD work in less than 6 months. So do not accept any of the standards that people tell you. Make your own. Go out there. So many people say, don't bite off more than you can chew. Right? Be cautious. Don't start something you don't know you can succeed or finish. That's the recipe for average people. You want to be exceptional? Pick exceptional goals. That's where it starts. It starts with exceptional goals. But I want to caution one thing. A lot of people today are looking at artificial intelligence and saying, oh, look at this. I can do the jobs of today better with artificial intelligence. And so I will be more competitive here, or I can start a business where somebody else used to take 10 people or take 10 months. And now I can do it with just myself in 1 month using artificial intelligence. But be careful. That'll work for a short time, maybe for the next 1 to 2 years. But it's not going to last. You have to continually be pushing the envelope, pushing the limits. And so I encourage you to look at artificial intelligence, understand where it's going, understand what are we going to do if it eliminates all jobs. If we have robots, because watch humanoid robots, they have grown so fast in the last year that humanoid robots probably within the next 5 years are going to be able to do every physical task any human can do better than any human. And AI is on the path to do any cognitive task better than any human. So figure out here how society going to function, and how do we move peacefully, transition to a society where everyone in the world benefits from the abundance that robots and AI can create.
Okay, thank you so much for your answer, and thank you so much for your talking. So let's over our interview. So thank you so much for coming in my this podcast. So thank you again. Love is bye bye.